Another Dead Teenager, a Paul Turner Mystery, Book 3. Author, Mark Richard Zubro. Stonewall Inn Mysteries. Narrator, Eric Aust. Chapter 8. Turner drove back to Area 10 headquarters through a cool, swirling breeze which held the first puffs of winter. He found Fenwick examining the crime scene photos on the corkboard on the 4th floor. Fenwick had on a clean shirt and was freshly shaved. "Anything new?" Turner asked. "I'm more tired than ever," Fenwick said. He handed Turner some forms. "What's this?" "Previous owners of all the buildings in a 3-block radius of the warehouse. No names of anybody we questioned so far. Couple of corporations I've got uniforms checking out." Turner picked up a manila envelope from a stack of 20. He opened it. "What's this?" he asked. "Pictures of Waverly and a select group of nobodies to bring around to everybody we talked to." It was more efficient than lineups to bring groups of photos around to witnesses for possible identification. Real lineups would follow positive responses from any witnesses. This would be a preliminary stage. Turner and Fenwick, plus other members of the task force, would show them around today. The commander appeared at the top of the stairs and hurried over to them. He spoke without preamble. "You ever hear of a Peter Vollmer, all-state soccer star? In the past 2 years, got scholarships to half a dozen universities." "Don't follow soccer much," Turner said. Poindexter said, "They did a big spread on him in the Tribune a month ago." "He's dead?" Fenwick said. "Call came in a few minutes ago from Millwood, a village in Kane County. If your theory is right, we've got another one. We better think about notifying every kid who's had his name in the paper in the metropolitan area." "As soon as possible," Turner said. "I'll work on it while you're gone," Poindexter said. "Are they expecting us in Millwood?" Fenwick asked. Poindexter nodded. In the old part of Millwood, they found a rambling Victorian mansion surrounded by a plethora of emergency vehicles. They identified themselves to the cops outside, then entered, under gleaming hardwood floors and the sounds of incredible shrieking. Their contact was Detective Smithers. He was about 5'5" and slender. He wore a brown suit, the same color as his mustache. Introductions over, he beckoned them into an alcove to the right of the front door. Smithers shook his head. "Hear that?" Turner and Fenwick nodded. "The mother got home 15 minutes ago. She and the husband had a breakfast political meeting. Left this morning at 6. Their kid was alive." "What happened?" "Worst I've ever seen." He led them to a set of double doors and pushed them further open. If it had been their first homicide, Turner and Fenwick would have gasped, and one or both would have run to the washroom to lose their breakfast. From a chandelier in the middle of a 2-story foyer living room hung a naked body. Thick ribbons of flesh and muscle hung from great gashes in the torso and every limb. Some of the cuts had gone deep enough, and several of the gouges were sufficiently wide to reveal bones and organs inside an enormous pool of blood. Covered a white and purple Persian rug. In the middle of the blood was a pair of briefs, completely soaked in blood. Smithers turned away. Fenwick muttered in Turner's ear, "Let's have another one, just like the other one." Turner barely kept his composure. Smithers said, "My boss will be here soon. I've never handled anything like this." Since this was Kane County, the people who examined the crime scene were unfamiliar to Turner and Fenwick. After the Chicago detectives were introduced and explanations given for their presence, Turner and Fenwick described what they had found so far. "You really think that's the solution?" a tanned male in his early 30s asked. "Best we've got," Fenwick said. "What do you have?" "We're just starting." "What happened to him?" Fenwick asked. "Didn't die from being hung. That just kept him in place while the killer worked. Only blood in the house is on the rug here. I think it was the cut that sliced his back nearly in half that actually killed him. Won't know for sure until I get him to the lab. Tape around ankles and wrists kept him immobile." "Who called it in?" Turner asked. A friend who was supposed to pick him up for school walked in. He had a key. Don't lock up much out here. So that's how the killer got in. No forced entry evident. Any struggle in the house? His bedroom's a mess. What'd the parents say? Mom hasn't stopped shrieking. Dad keeps mumbling. But we were so happy. Have to wait a while on them. She's running for Congress from this district, Smithers said. Anything on their friend who found him? In total shock. Could barely talk. They were best friends since kindergarten. What about the dead boy? Good kid? Creep? I know him, Smithers said. I coached him on his little league team years ago. Nicest, most polite kid you'd ever want to meet. Town made a big thing out of it when he got the big write-up in the Tribune. Killer used several different knives. Cuts are different sizes. No hacking or sawing. Really sharp knives. Really sharp knives. From the angle, I'd say Killer was probably right-handed. Neighbors see anything? Canvass of the immediate neighbors is done. We have to get back to the ones who weren't home. So far, only one person saw anything unusual. Pickup truck in the driveway about 6:30. Didn't see anybody. Might have been news. It was not a dark color. Turner told them about the 3 different descriptions they'd gotten so far in vehicles. At least it was a truck, Fenwick said. The closest we've had to a match so far. They asked them to check to see if the boy's testicles were crushed. As he drove back to Chicago, Fenwick asked, Is this our killer? Ain't the goddamn MOs being different? We may have a very, very smart serial killer. Maybe he read all the books that are out about organized and disorganized killers and patterns of behavior. It'd have to be 3 in this area in less than a week. Why kill 1 in random cities over a number of years and then increase it here? We don't know how many he's killed here or anywhere else. He's gone crazier? That's part of the profile. They do more and more. Isn't it supposed to be the more they do, the more they want to get caught? Think so, Fenwick said. That could have been my boy, Turner said. Maybe the killer got frustrated because of his failure last night, and this is the result. My boy is alive, and this kid is dead. Only thing we can do is focus on catching the guy before he tries again. Or before he flees the area. Anything here help us catch our guy? It says he might still be in the area. We better contact the media. Damn quick. There'll be plenty of them around the station. Better see what the commanders come up with first before returning to the station. They made 3 stops to show their photo lineup. The fast food worker at McDonald's said flat out, no. None of them was the guy. At the school of the kid who had found the body, each boy frowned seriously. 2 picked out cops who'd been on duty that night. Last, they stopped at the new fitness center down from where they found Jake Goldstein's body. Drew Riley let them in. Thought you might be working on the north side today, Turner said. My day off. Just finished fixing up a room in the back where I can live. I shower and shave at the health club. He looked carefully at all the photos. Nobody I recognize is one of them the killer? We don't know, Fenwick said. Could any of them be the person you saw in the car that night? Riley hesitated over Waverly's photo. The cops waited patiently. Finally, Riley shook his head. No, none of these. You hesitated on one of them, Fenwick said. I don't want to say unless I'm absolutely certain. It was no good to press him. You don't put a witness on the stand who isn't absolutely certain, but Turner and Fenwick's level of suspicion about Waverly rose another notch. The media frenzy outside Area 10 headquarters was incredible. The sea of reporters swamped their cars as they came to a halt. Why couldn't we have an early season 10-inch snowfall? Fenwick asked. That would get their butts out of here, or I could put the car in reverse, and there would be lots of new openings in journalism for hard-working college kids. Suddenly, Fenwick rammed open his door. People jumped back, and a ripple effect opened a small path for a few seconds. Turner shoved open his door. They heard. Is this new killing connected? What are the police going to do? Are all the departments cooperating? Why wasn't this killing prevented? Instead, we are going to intervene. Side by side, slowly, carefully, and silently, Turner and Fenwick made their way into the station. The commander met them on the first floor. We're having another press conference. I'll never keep my temper, Fenwick said. You're not going to be here. The commander motioned them over to a corner away from the admitting desk. You're going to Kennekamat. One of the high school kids, Arnie Pantera, is confessing. The Satanism kid, Turner said. Who? The commander asked. Turner got halfway through the explanation of their interview with Arnie before the commander said, Yeah, now I remember. Get out there. The Kennekamat police are holding him and are not releasing anything to the press. They don't believe him. Get your butts up there and find out what's going on. I've got a goddamn press conference in 10 minutes. I didn't think this could get worse. They waited 5 minutes for the reporters to begin filing into the building for the press conference before they both hurried out a back way to their car. I'd rather stay and follow our leads around the country, Turner said. And when you're a commander, you too can do whatever you please. I'm not sure I want to be commander. I want to be emperor or maybe god of the detectives. Christ, I'm tired and I'm hungry. I just want to sleep. Just before the border to Kennekamat, they stopped at Dunkin' Donuts for coffee and sustenance. It's after 2 already, Fenwick said. All this driving around is futile. Chief Robsart ushered them into her office. This is unreal. Parents are here demanding a lawyer for their kid. Kid is here insisting he doesn't want a lawyer. Does he know about the murder in Millwood this morning? Turner asked. Yep. Says he did that one too, Turner said. I want to talk to him, with his lawyer present, plus a state's attorney and his parents. You really want everybody there? Robsart asked. Yeah. I don't want any legal or constitutional or procedural or any other kind of technical difficulties. If this kid did it, I want everybody around. What happened? The kid walked in here about 11. He confessed to the first 3 people he saw. One was a homeless person we were shipping to county jail. Another was a temporary secretary doing filing for the day. And the last was an officer who's only been working here for 2 weeks. And she had the sense to call me. He tried confessing to me, but after the first sentence, I stopped him. I called the state's attorney, the parents, and you. He's been sitting in a conference room. I think I should have called a team of psychiatrists. Arnie is not on the same planet as the rest of us, Turner said. You're that right. He's hearing voices. The rest of us don't. Half an hour later, Turner and Fenwick sat in a room that looked out over a dry and empty fountain. Assembled around an oak conference table were all the people that Turner had suggested be present, along with Robsart. 2 uniformed Kennekamat cops brought in Ernie Pantera. Again, he was dressed all in black, including his cape. He gazed slowly at everyone in the room. The police and the lawyers had agreed that Turner would be the spokesperson for the group. Why are all these people here? Ernie whispered. Turner said, We need to talk to you about the killings. These are the people we wanted present. Ernie took a chair next to Turner. The police here said you have a statement to make, Turner said. Arnie looked around the room again. Yes, he said. Yes, the great Satan has spoken to me. I have done his bidding, and I'm here to tell you about it. Did you kill Jay Goldstein, Frank Douglas, and Peter Vollmer? Yes. Ernie's voice never rose above a whisper. He didn't look at anyone in the room as he spoke, but stared out at the swirling leaves, driven by the cool wind. Why did you do it, Ernie? Satan commanded it. This is ridiculous, Mr. Pantera said. He turned to their lawyer. I demand you put a stop to this. The lawyer was an elderly gentleman who, with a narrow face, bushy eyebrows, and a goatee, he said, I have informed Arnie of his rights. You were there. I say again, Arnie, I advise you not to speak to the police. This interview should stop immediately. Turner didn't say a word. He wasn't convinced this kid had done anything yet. Arnie said, I wish to tell the world I have nothing to fear. Turner wasn't sure he'd get sane answers to any of his questions. "You may continue asking," Arnie said. Turner looked at the lawyer and the parents. "Arnie, listen to me," his father said. "This is insane. You can't do this. You've taken this far enough. You have to stop now." His mother said, "Arnie, we'll get you all the help we can, but you are only endangering yourself the more you talk." They spent half an hour debating with Arnie, alternately cajoling and threatening. The cops and state's attorney said little, the lawyer only some, and Arnie least of all. They took a break, and out in the hall, Turner got hold of the lawyer, Mr. and Mrs. Pantera, and the state's attorney. "Look," he said, "I don't think your kid killed anybody. If you let me ask him some specific details about the killings, especially today's murder, I think we can eliminate him as a suspect." "It's a trick," Mr. Pantera said. "I know how you police trick people." The lawyer led the parents down the hall out of earshot of Turner. They returned a few minutes later. The lawyer said, "We want to know before we go in what you're going to ask." Normally, Turner would bristle at this, and he saw Fenwick draw a deep breath for a vociferous protest. But Turner said, "Sure. I'm going to ask him about details that didn't happen, and see if he confirms them. If he passes that test, I'll ask a few details that he couldn't know, that we haven't released to the public. If he confirms them, he did do it." The lawyer and the parents conferred for another few minutes. Fenwick said, "Why the hell did you give them that?" "Do you think he did it?" "No. So we do it their way, and we get the hell out of here sometime this century." Fenwick shrugged. Everyone reassembled in the room. Turner again sat next to Arnie. "Arnie, I need to ask you a few things," Turner said. Arnie gave a small nod. "You shot Jake an awful lot of times. He had offended Satan. Why'd you pick that warehouse to leave him in?" "It was vacant." "Why the third floor?" "They'd found him on the second floor." "I wouldn't be interrupted." Turner resisted the urge to glance at Fenwick. "Must have been tough carrying him up all those stairs." "I don't remember." "We still can't figure out where you hid your car so it couldn't be seen." "In the alley." "Why'd you take his underwear?" Arnie turned his eyes on Turner for the first time. Turner thought he detected a semblance of recognition. "Are you trying to trick me?" "Oh, we didn't find his underwear." "Yes." "The boy this morning didn't have his underwear either." "Yes." "We need to look for it. Can you tell us where it is?" "No, I don't remember." For 15 more minutes, Turner questioned him. The more Turner asked, the worse Arnie's memory became. Finally, Turner beckoned the lawyer and the parents out of the room. He leaned against the wall in the corner. The parents looked anxious. The lawyer remained silent. Rob Sart, Fenwick, and the state's attorney looked on. "He didn't do it," Turner said. "Thank God," Mrs. Pantera said. "He's in very bad shape," Turner said. "That glazed look." "Are you a therapist, Mr. Turner?" Mr. Pantera asked. Rob Sart stepped in. "Confessing to a murder and wasting the police time like this is a serious criminal offense in itself. We need to talk." She led them to her office. The lawyer stayed behind and said to Turner and Fenwick, "We've had trouble with Arnie for a long time. He's been hospitalized before for depression. I'll do what I can. Thank you for being understanding." Back in the car, Fenwick added, "Add this to the fiasco list. How much time did we waste up here?" "Too much." "Have we ever met anybody that whacked out yet?" "Remember the woman who lied about having born 6 kids? Claimed it never happened? Or how about the guy with the beer truck in his living room?" Fenwick laughed. "And those were just since this summer. Need I go on?" Halfway back to Area 10, and Turner found he could barely keep his eyes open. "Don't fall asleep," Fenwick said. "If we ever solve this, I'm going to sleep for a week." Gay Mysteries audiobooks. I think it is easy to hate a label, but a face humanizes the word. So this effort is twofold: to offer comfort to those like myself that your world didn't end because you don't fit into the view of acceptable society on both sides, and in hopes of helping those with family that are LGBTQ, that it doesn't mean we are aliens from the child they once knew. Reassure them so they can maybe be supportive at the same time, being true to their values.